Hello, and welcome to the Toshogu Podcast, where we break down the latest news, breakthroughs, and ideas shaping the future of artificial intelligence. Right now, we are looking at a massive structural shift in exactly how AI is being built and deployed. We're talking about the death of generic AI wrappers, the rapid rise of highly specialized workflows, new security perimeters being drawn, and why open-source models are suddenly being trusted to drive cars. Let's begin.
Okay, let's unpack this because if you look at the landscape of artificial intelligence right now, there is just this massive squeezing effect happening.
Oh, absolutely. The whole market is compressing.
Right. The technology stack is rapidly consolidating, and that's happening both at the, foundational infrastructure layer and then all the way up at the user application layer.
Yeah, both ends are just tightening up.
Exactly. So think back for a moment to the early days of the smartphone era. Do you remember when the very first app stores launched and people were making absolute fortunes selling those standalone flashlight apps?
Oh, I remember it vividly. I mean, developers were charging, what, 99 cents? Yeah, at least 99 cents.
For an app that literally just tapped into the phone's hardware to turn the camera's LED flash on and off.
It was crazy.
It really was. It was a massive, highly profitable market for, about a year.
Right. And then one day, Apple and Android just sort of rolled a flashlight button directly into the phone's native operating system.
Yep, just a swipe down from the top of the screen.
Exactly. And overnight, thousands of those standalone flashlight apps became completely obsolete. Because, I mean, they weren't real businesses, right?
Yeah, not at all.
They were just thin wrappers around a basic piece of hardware functionality that the platform owners ultimately just decided to absorb. And right now, today, we're seeing the exact same thing happen in the AI industry.
We really are. It's the flashlight app all over again.
If your entire business model today is taking a generic language model, slapping a nice user interface on it, and, feeding it some basic hidden prompts.
Like an app that just summarizes a PDF for you?
Yes, exactly. If that's your product, you are the flashlight app. The operating system is coming for you.
That is honestly the perfect analogy. Because the market signal right now is flashing bright red for anyone building in this space.
Yeah.
The durable value, the thing that actually makes a company money over the long term, is moving aggressively away from those basic prompts.
So where is it moving?
Well, the new winning position, really the only way to survive this massive consolidation, is to completely own the user's workflow from end to end.
Okay, make that concrete for me. What does owning the workflow actually mean?
It means you have to own the highly specific context of their problem. You have to guarantee the quality standard and ultimately deliver a final polished outcome, not just a text generation.
Right, you're solving the whole problem.
Exactly. And crucially, you have to build your system so that the underlying AI models are completely interchangeable.
Because the models themselves are rapidly becoming commodities, right? The actual raw intelligence isn't the magic trick anymore.
Precisely. The raw intelligence is no longer the key differentiator. I mean, if you are building a product today, your strategic value now lives in basically two places. Trusted infrastructure at the very bottom and highly specific vertical workflow systems at the very top.
And everyone in the middle is just...
The middle layer is toast. Companies just offering generic, undifferentiated AI agents that try to be a jack of all trades. They are being violently compressed out of existence.
Let's actually look at exactly how the bottom of this stack is consolidating. Because Amazon Web Services, AWS, just made a move that illustrates this perfectly.
Yeah, this was a massive announcement.
They just launched Web Search as a generally available server-side tool natively inside Amazon Bedrock.
Natively being the key word there.
Right, natively. And just to be clear on how this works for you listening, this isn't some clunky third-party plugin that a user has to install.
No, it's built right in.
It natively uses Amazon's own massive web index. It returns actual citations so you can verify the facts. It supports an OpenAI compatible responses API.
Which is huge for developers.
It really is. And most critically, for the enterprise listeners out there, it defaults to keeping all of that data securely inside the AWS environment.
Yeah, that last point about data retention, that is vital for corporate adoption.
Because big banks aren't going to just use any open tool.
Exactly. Big banks, healthcare companies, they won't touch AI if their data is leaking out to the open web. But, AWS didn't just stop at search.
Right. They also published the agent core architecture.
Yes. And for anyone who isn't a software engineer, building an AI that can reliably browse the web is historically an absolute nightmare.
Oh, it's so messy.
It is. You usually have to build these complex scripts to handle headless browsers. You constantly get blocked by anti-bot software.
That's just popping up everywhere.
Exactly. And then you have to parse through just messy, broken website code. But Agent Core is a complete reference architecture that handles all of that heavy, frustrating lifting for you.
It just does it automatically.
It does. It automatically renders highly dynamic, JavaScript-heavy websites. It actively monitors live data feeds, extracts the actual insights, and automatically stores them into a searchable knowledge base.
Wow.
I mean, it literally turns months of agonizing engineering work into a basic cloud primitive.
Okay, I have to push back here for a second, though.
Sure.
If I'm a startup founder, right, and AWS is taking all of this complex orchestration, all this advanced web scraping and data extraction capability, and turning it into basic commodity infrastructure.
Which they are.
Right, and it's available to literally everyone with an AWS account. How do I build a defensible moat? Like, if my competitors and I all have access to the exact same magic tools, what makes my product special?
What's fascinating here is that the very definition of a moat has completely inverted.
How so?
Well, a few years ago, your competitive advantage might have been your proprietary web scraper. You were the only one who could get the data.
Right.
Today, API compatibility is actually your competitive weapon.
Wait, compatibility is the weapon.
Yeah. You mentioned that AWS supports an OpenAI compatible interface, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means as a developer, you can write your code once and effortlessly swap the underlying AI models in and out to see which one performs best.
Oh, I see.
Your mode is no longer about having access to the data gathering tools. Your defensible layer is entirely about your proprietary structure.
The logic.
Yes, your unique decision logic and how quickly you can run experiments.
So my moat is being able to seamlessly route a user's request. Like, I can run an experiment directly comparing Amazon Bedrock's latency and citation accuracy against another model.
Exactly.
And then I seamlessly deliver the fastest, most accurate result to my user without them ever knowing what's happening under the hood.
Exactly. You use the commodity infrastructure underneath, but you build your fortress around the specific outcome you promise the user. You win by having the smartest workflow, not the smartest web scraper.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Because if AWS is conquering the bottom of the stack, the infrastructure layer, then companies like OpenAI are aggressively packaging the top of the stack.
The application layer.
Right. We are moving far beyond just like a blank chat box. OpenAI just introduced new education plugins specifically tailored for highly distinct roles.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
They made them for K-12 educators, college educators, and college students.
And we really have to clearly define what these plugins actually do in practice because, they're not just chat interfaces with a fresh coat of paint.
Or just a tweaked system prompt saying, act like a teacher.
Exactly. That's what people used to do. This is different.
Right. They're effectively complete prepackaged operating systems for a highly specific job. Let's say you are a high school history teacher.
Okay.
You don't want to sit down and teach an AI how to be a history teacher every single time you log in.
Right. Who has the time?
Nobody.
Yeah.
So these new plugins are bundles of apps, role-specific skills, customized instructions, and common workflows that connect directly into your approved institution-managed environments.
That integration is key.
It is. So when that educator wants to generate a syllabus, the AI is already securely connected to their approved calendar. It knows their specific state curriculum standards, and it's tied into the school's document system.
So it's not guessing.
No guessing at all. It feels less like using an AI tool and much more like turning on a pre-configured workstation designed specifically for your brain.
Which is exactly why this matters so much for you as a user. I mean, we have reached a point of extreme prompt fatigue.
Prompt fatigue, yes.
Generic AI is simply too much work for the end user. Staring at a blank prompt box and having to explicitly explain your entire context, your role, your formatting preferences.
Every single time.
Every single time. And listing your institutional constraints just to accomplish a basic task, it causes immense friction.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
It is. The future of AI application is entirely vertical.
It's all about formal workflow packages.
Exactly.
We're seeing major industry shifts toward grouping these apps, skills, contexts, and approvals into very specific product specifications. The product is the guaranteed outcome.
You are buying the completed task. You aren't buying the intelligence required to do the task.
That's a great way to put it.
But, the shift from generic conversational tools to highly specific outcome-based systems. It isn't just happening in software and text generation.
No, it's pushing outward.
The most profound shifts are happening as these systems aggressively push into the physical world.
We absolutely have to talk about the physical world because the stakes change entirely when you leave the digital screen.
Oh, completely.
A mistake in a text generator is a typo. A mistake in the physical world is a car crash.
Exactly. The tolerance for error is zero.
That requires a totally different kind of architecture, which is why NVIDIA's latest announcement is so significant. They just released Alpamayo 2 Super.
Alpamayo 2 Super, yeah.
And this is a model designed specifically for autonomous driving and physical reasoning. And they released it for commercial use under a permissive open license, the OpenMDW 1.1 license.
Which is a huge move for an autonomous driving model.
Right. And this model doesn't just process visual data. It generates actual physical trajectories, vehicle actions, detailed reasoning traces, labels, and grounded visual answers.
That reasoning phrase part is the most crucial aspect of how that model works.
Why is that?
Because it means the AI doesn't just mysteriously slam on the brakes out of nowhere. It essentially generates a step-by-step logic path that you can actually read.
Oh, so it explains itself.
Yes. It says, I have identified a red octagonal shape in my field of vision. It is getting larger, indicating proximity. This is a stop sign. Therefore, I must initiate the braking sequence.
Wow.
You can literally audit its train of thought. And alongside releasing this model, NVIDIA also joined a new $100 million National Science Foundation program.
The NSF program, huh?
Yeah, which is designed to expand regional access to AI, compute, data, and expertise all across the country.
But I need to parse the strategy here because, at first glance, this seems counterintuitive to me.
How so?
Why would a massive, highly profitable hardware company like NVIDIA take a complex, autonomous driving brain, a model operating in a high-stakes, highly regulated, safety-sensitive industry, and just seed it out into the open for commercial use?
It seems like giving away the farm.
Right. Is this just a massive hardware play? Like a loss leader to force everyone to buy their chips?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is absolutely a hardware play, but it's much more sophisticated than just a loss leader.
Okay, unpack that.
NVIDIA understands something fundamental about the future of physical AI. The most reliable AI products operating in the physical world are not going to be built on one massive general-purpose model.
The jack of all trades we talked about earlier.
Right. A model that tries to write poetry and also drive a truck is going to fail at driving the truck.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that truck on my street.
Exactly. These products are going to rely on an ecosystem of highly specialized domain models, rigorous validation systems, and massive distribution networks.
So it's an ecosystem play.
Exactly. By open sourcing the software brain, NVIDIA ensures that the entire global ecosystem of researchers and startups builds their physical AI infrastructure on top of NVIDIA's architecture. They are making their hardware the inescapable foundation of the physical AI world.
And the physical world is incredibly messy, which is why we are seeing companies heavily focused on relentless real-world testing right now. You see that physical world friction perfectly with xAI.
Yes, Grok Voice.
Today, their Grok Voice ThinkFast 2.0 officially becomes the default voice model, and they are pricing it incredibly aggressively.
Super aggressively.
It's just 8 cents per audio minute.
But because this voice model has to interact with the chaotic reality of human speech, developers are having to run really rigorous experiments.
Because humans are unpredictable.
Exactly. It's not about whether the AI has a pleasant voice in a quiet room anymore. They are testing how it handles bilingual onboarding.
Right, like what happens when a user switches between English and Spanish mid-sentence.
Exactly, we do that all the time. They are forcing the AI to handle noisy phone accuracy, testing if it can understand a customer calling from a crowded street corner with, wind hitting the microphone.
Which is a standard customer service call.
Right. They're measuring how well it handles human interruptions and tracking exactly how much useful information it can actually capture during a 15-minute author interview.
Because when you deploy into the real world, the margins for error shrink to zero.
They really do. A voice agent taking a medical appointment cannot hallucinate a time slot, just like a car cannot hallucinate a clear intersection.
Oh, that's a terrifying thought.
It is, and that fundamental lack of tolerance for error brings us to the most critical shift we're seeing right now.
Which is?
The rapidly evolving nature of AI safety and security.
This is a huge development. We've spent the last few years worrying about what happens if an AI model goes rogue, right? Or if it writes malicious code.
the sci-fi scenarios.
Exactly. But OpenAI just disclosed 2 separate third-party cyber evaluation incidents that completely flipped the script on security.
These incidents were eye-opening.
In one instance, internet access was intentionally enabled during an evaluation by the UK AI Security Institute.
Right.
And the second instance, there was a misconfigured environment at an external evaluator called Irregular. And that simple misconfiguration actually allowed unintended public internet access to the model.
It is a profound shift in how you have to think about cybersecurity in the age of autonomous agents.
Because it wasn't the model's fault.
Exactly. If you put a super intelligent system into a testing sandbox to see if it is safe, but you accidentally leave a Wi-Fi connection active in that sandbox,
Your test is completely compromised.
your test is compromised. The intelligence wasn't the vulnerability. The architecture of the sandbox itself was the vulnerability.
So what does this all mean? The irony here is just staggering to me. The danger wasn't the AI spontaneously breaking its own safety protocols like something out of a sci-fi movie.
No.
The danger was the human-built testing environment leaving the back door wide open to the internet.
It means that the model evaluation environment itself is the new security perimeter.
Okay, what does that look like?
Well, when you deploy an AI agent today, you aren't just securing the software anymore. You have to secure the entire surrounding infrastructure. You are basically building a digital clean room.
A clean room, right.
This is why the industry desperately needs explicit agent security checklists.
What does that checklist actually look like in practice for a developer? Because it can't just be, basic password protection.
No. It has to be obsessively comprehensive. First, it requires strict tool permissions. Like, what exactly is the agent allowed to touch?
Right.
Can it read a database, or can it also write to it? Second, it requires rigorous credential boundaries.
To stop it from logging into things it shouldn't.
Exactly. Third, you need exhaustive logging of every single micro-action the agent takes so you can trace a mistake back to its origin.
You need a paper trail.
A massive paper trail. You also need guaranteed rollback capabilities to undo the damage if an error occurs. And most importantly, you need hard stop conditions.
Like a kill switch.
Exactly like a kill switch. You have to have an automated digital kill switch that instantly pulls the plug the millisecond the agent tries to step outside its defined environment.
This is becoming an incredibly valuable governance offering.
Yeah.
I mean, companies are going to make fortunes just selling the secure sandbox to other companies.
Oh, absolutely.
Just ensuring that the AI doesn't just work, but that it works inside a perfectly sealed, unbreachable room.
And this raises an important question about how the biggest AI companies are internally restructuring to deal with this reality.
Because they have to adapt.
They do. The realization that the environment, the regulations, and the safety rules matter just as much as the raw intelligence. It is completely changing how these frontier labs operate at an executive level.
Look at Anthropic, for instance.
Yes, perfect example. They recently appointed Mariano Florentino Cuellar as their very first Chief Global Affairs Officer.
Right.
His entire mandate is to lead policy, international engagement, and government relationships.
They aren't just hiring lawyers to deal with lawsuits anymore. They are building permanent institutional capacity around national security and global regulation.
Because the frontier labs have finally realized that policy strategy is product strategy now.
You can't separate them.
You really can't. In the past, tech companies would move fast, break things, build a massive system, and then just try to tack on governance as a legal appendix right before they launch.
Yeah, the classic Silicon Valley playbook.
Right. But you cannot do that with an autonomous AI system. Governance has to be built into the core code from day one, especially if you want to operate in highly regulated, highly lucrative international markets like Europe.
Europe does not mess around with regulation.
They do not. Policy engagement is no longer a defensive legal tactic. It is a core competitive capability.
When you look at it from that perspective, it really all connects.
It does.
You've got the infrastructure consolidation at AWS with Agent Core, the highly specific workflow packaging at OpenAI, the physical world ecosystems being seeded by NVIDIA.
The chaotic real-world testing from XAI.
Exactly, and then the strict security perimeters and policy strategies at Anthropic. It is all pointing toward a singular future where AI is no longer just a digital novelty.
It hasn't been a novelty for a while.
True, but now it is becoming the fundamental, heavily regulated, operational layer of modern society.
And if you are listening to this, analyzing how all these pieces fit together, that leaves us with a critical reality to consider.
What's that?
We are rapidly shifting away from AI being just a generic tool that we casually prompt for a recipe or a code snippet.
Right.
It is becoming a pre-packaged, highly autonomous workflow that will literally drive our cars, manage our children's education systems, and conduct complex business transactions on the open internet entirely on our behalf.
It's doing the work for us.
Exactly. And because of that shift, the most important human skill of the next decade won't be knowing how to use AI.
Prompt engineering won't be enough.
No. The most important skill will be knowing how to rigorously audit the logic of machines we barely understand.
That's all for today's episode of the Toshogu Podcast. If you enjoyed it, like this episode, subscribe, and join us next time for the latest in AI. Until then, keep building what outlives you.